Good day, everyone. Let's face it, your brain is your most important muscle, and just like the rest of your body, it needs exercise to stay sharp, fast, and powerful. But here's the real question. Are you giving it the right kind of workout? Today, I'm going to share with you 5 of the absolute best brain exercises you can start doing right now, simple, actionable, and proven to fire up your mind like never before. Learning something new is one of the most powerful ways to stimulate and strengthen the brain. When you challenge yourself to acquire a new skill, whether it's picking up a musical instrument, speaking a new language, or even learning how to cook a complex dish, you're forcing your brain to operate outside of its familiar routines. This unfamiliarity pushes the brain to adapt, firing up neurons that otherwise lie dormant during your daily activity. Just like physical exercise stresses muscles to make them grow stronger, mental challenges stretch your brain's capabilities, encouraging growth and greater resilience. Neuroscientists call this process neuroplasticity, the brain's incredible ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. Every time you practice a new skill, you are essentially rewiring your brain. These new connections don't just make you better at the skill you're learning, they also improve your overall cognitive flexibility. Your brain becomes better at problem solving, adapting to change, and thinking creatively across multiple areas of life. It's not just about getting good at playing the piano or speaking French, it's about upgrading the way your entire mind functions. Importantly, the kind of new skills you choose matters. Passive activities like watching a documentary are good for information gathering, but don't necessarily build strong new neural pathways. Active, effortful learning, like practicing scales on a keyboard, memorizing vocabulary, or mastering the steps of a complicated recipe, requires your brain to engage in trial and error, deep focus, and pattern recognition. These types of experiences cause your brain to fire on multiple levels, integrating movement, memory, emotion, and reasoning all at once. The richer and more challenging the activity, the deeper and stronger the neural connections formed. Another critical aspect to remember is that consistent practice locks in these gains. It's not enough to dabble in a new skill once and walk away. Repetition strengthens the wiring, just like lifting weights builds muscle over time. As you keep practicing, the brain lays down layers of myelin around the neural pathways involved, making those circuits faster and more efficient. Over time, what once felt difficult becomes second nature, but behind the scenes, your brain is not just becoming good at that specific task, it's becoming more capable overall, better able to tackle the next new challenge you throw its way. Memory recall is one of the most underused yet powerful brain exercises available to us. At the end of the day, taking just a few minutes to mentally review what happened, meetings attended, conversations had, meals eaten, small details noticed, can have a profound impact on how well your brain organizes and retrieves information. This simple practice forces your mind to sift through the clutter of daily experiences, select important details, and bring them to conscious awareness. In doing so, you are actively exercising the circuits responsible for memory storage and access, sharpening your ability to remember not just trivial things, but critical knowledge as well. When you engage in regular memory recall, you strengthen the pathways that connect different parts of the brain involved in remembering, such as the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex. Scientists have shown that when you actively try to retrieve information, it creates a stronger memory trace than simply rereading or reviewing notes. It's the act of struggling to remember, even if you don't succeed at first, that reinforces your brain's memory systems. Each attempt at recalling a detail builds more efficient and faster access points in your mind, leading to sharper memory performance over time. Moreover, memory recall doesn't have to be limited to the events of your own day. You can challenge yourself to remember facts from books you've read, movies you've seen, or skills you've recently learned. This expands the scope of your mental exercise, allowing your brain to practice pulling from a wider range of knowledge. The more varied the material you try to recall, the better your brain becomes at organizing information in meaningful ways. It improves not just the quantity of what you remember, but also the quality, helping you spot patterns, make connections, and apply knowledge creatively when needed. An important technique to enhance your memory recall practice is to retrieve information in a structured way. Instead of randomly thinking about your day, try to organize your recall chronologically, geographically, or thematically. This forces your brain to categorize and structure memories, which improves logical thinking and long-term storage. A simple habit of structured reflection, done daily or even a few times a week, builds a brain that is quicker, clearer, and more capable of handling the information-dense world we live in. Using your non-dominant hand for everyday tasks might seem like a small and even silly exercise at first, but it has a surprisingly powerful impact on brain function. Simple activities like brushing your teeth, stirring your coffee, or opening a door with the opposite hand force your brain to activate less used neural circuits. Because these actions feel awkward and unfamiliar, your brain has to work harder to coordinate movement, control precision, and maintain focus. This increased mental demand leads to better communication between different regions of the brain, particularly between the right and left hemispheres. When you use your non-dominant hand, you engage areas of the brain related to motor control, proprioception, the sense of body position, and problem solving. The act of switching hands disrupts the automatic patterns your brain is used to running on autopilot. Instead of relying on habit and muscle memory, you must consciously think about every movement, firing up new neurons and encouraging greater neuroplasticity. Over time, this type of cognitive stretching strengthens your brain's ability to adapt to new challenges, a skill that becomes incredibly valuable in fast-changing environments, both personally and professionally. Moreover, practicing non-dominant hand use builds patience and mental endurance. At first, the awkwardness can be frustrating, but pushing through this discomfort enhances your ability to stay focused under pressure. You train your mind to handle frustration, slow down when necessary, and commit to deliberate, careful action. These qualities transfer easily to more complex areas of life, such as learning new skills, solving difficult problems, and staying composed during stressful situations. What seems like a simple physical exercise is actually a deep mental training for greater emotional and cognitive resilience. To maximize the benefits, it's helpful to gradually increase the complexity of tasks you attempt with your non-dominant hand. Start with basic activities like flipping light switches or holding utensils, and then move on to more challenging ones like writing a few sentences or throwing a ball. Each new layer of difficulty pushes your brain a little further outside its comfort zone, demanding fresh adaptations and deeper engagement. By making non-dominant hand exercises a consistent part of your routine, you're actively building a more flexible, attentive, and resilient mind. Mindful observation is one of the simplest yet most transformative brain exercises you can practice. It involves choosing an ordinary object, a coffee mug, a plant, a book, and studying it with your full undivided attention. The goal isn't to judge or label what you see, but to notice every detail, the textures, the colors, the shapes, the shadows, and even the imperfections. This deliberate act of focused seeing forces your brain to slow down, block out distractions, and absorb information at a deeper level. Over time, mindful observation strengthens your ability to notice subtleties that most people overlook. When you practice mindful observation regularly, you train your brain to become more analytical and curious. Instead of glossing over information or making snap assumptions, you naturally begin to dig deeper, ask better questions, and seek out hidden layers of meaning. This is a fundamental skill for critical thinking, the ability to separate signal from noise, spot inconsistencies, and draw well-informed conclusions. Whether you're analyzing a business problem, reading a contract, or even navigating a personal decision, the habit of looking closely gives you a huge mental advantage. Moreover, mindful observation doesn't just sharpen your external senses, it heightens your internal awareness as well. When you learn to tune in fully to the world around you, you simultaneously become more attuned to your own thoughts, emotions, and reactions. You notice patterns in your behavior, recognize when you're distracted, and catch subtle shifts in your mood or energy. This deepened self-awareness improves emotional intelligence, helping you to respond more thoughtfully rather than react impulsively, a crucial skill in leadership, relationships, and personal growth. To expand the benefits, you can practice mindful observation in a variety of settings, walking through a park, sitting in a crowded cafe, or even studying a painting at a museum. Each environment offers new details to notice, different layers to peel back. By making it a daily habit, even if it's just 5 minutes, you train your brain to operate with a heightened sense of clarity, precision, and creativity. The more you exercise this skill, the more naturally it becomes a part of how you approach everything in life. When it comes down to it, your brain is not a fixed machine. It's a living, breathing engine of potential that grows stronger with every challenge you give it. These exercises, learning new skills, practicing memory recall, switching hands, observing mindfully, and playing strategic games aren't just tricks or temporary boosts. They are lifelong habits that reshape how you think, how you solve problems, and how you show up in the world. The best part? You don't need hours a day or expensive tools, just a willingness to step outside your comfort zone, a few minutes of intention, and the courage to push your mind a little further every single day. Over time, the small actions you take compound into massive cognitive strength, sharper focus, and greater adaptability. So start today. Challenge yourself. Wake your brain up. Give it the workout it deserves. Because in a world that's constantly changing, the greatest advantage you can have is a mind that's ready for anything.